I'm 74 years old, and nobody tells you the exact moment your life becomes irreversible. There is no sound, no warning, no dramatic turning point that clearly marks it. It doesn't arrive with fear or urgency. It arrives quietly, disguised as another ordinary day. For me, it happened on a Tuesday morning. I was standing alone in my kitchen, holding a cup of coffee I didn't remember making, staring out the window at a driveway that used to be full of noise. The house felt larger than it used to, not because it had grown, but because the people inside it were gone. That silence felt unfamiliar, and then suddenly, painfully familiar. It took me most of my life to understand what that silence meant. If you're younger than me, please listen carefully. Because I once believed the same comforting lie you might believe right now. I believed I had time. Time to fix things later. Time to say what mattered later. Time to rest later. Time to live later. I believed life would eventually slow down and give me space to catch up. I remember telling my wife, once this busy period at work is over, things will finally calm down. I said that sentence so many times, it stopped meaning anything. Years later, I realized it was just another way of saying, not now. I told myself I was being responsible, that I was sacrificing today for a better tomorrow. I believed life would give me permission to live once everything was in order. So I kept postponing things. Not now. Someday. After the kids are older, after the house is paid off, after retirement, and this is the most dangerous part of all. Nothing ever went wrong. My life didn't collapse. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't irresponsible. I had a steady job. I paid the mortgage. I showed up every morning and did what was expected of me. From the outside, my life looked stable, productive, respectable. People told me I was doing well. I went to birthdays, but I left early. I sat at dinner tables, but my mind was still somewhere else. I listened, but not fully. I was always tired. Always distracted. Always thinking about the next thing I had to do. I told myself I was doing all of this for my family. Days passed quietly. Years passed even faster. I remember sitting in my car one evening after work, engine still running, radio still on, realizing I couldn't remember the last full conversation I had with my son without glancing at the clock or thinking about what came next. Time didn't take my life violently. It took it silently, piece by piece, while I was distracted. I missed moments I assumed would repeat themselves. I missed school events because there was always another meeting. I missed small invitations because I kept waiting for a better time to be present. I missed chances to sit, to listen, to stay. I remember my wife asking me to take a walk with her one evening. I told her I was too tired and that we could do it another day. That other day never came. I remember brushing off a phone call from an old friend, telling myself I'd call him back tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became never. His wife called me a month later to tell me he was gone. One day, I realized something painful. The last time had already happened without me noticing. The last family dinner where everyone was still around a table. The last time my daughter asked me to come outside and watch the sunset. The last time my wife reached for my hand in the car before she slowly stopped doing it. And there was no rewind button to press. This mistake didn't cost me money. It didn't destroy my career. I was never fired. I never went broke. From the outside, my life looked successful enough. But it cost me years. Real years of my life that I can never recover. Years I would give anything to relive with more awareness. I remember the moment it finally hit me. It wasn't dramatic. There was no breakdown. I was sitting alone in a doctor's waiting room, flipping through the same magazine page over and over, when it occurred to me that I had spent my healthiest years preparing for a future I was now too tired to enjoy. My body didn't move the way it used to. My energy didn't return the way it once did. The future I was waiting for had arrived, and I wasn't prepared for it in the way I thought I would be. My life didn't change suddenly. It slipped away while I was waiting for the right time. And that's when I understood the truth most people never want to face. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels reasonable. Waiting feels responsible. But waiting is the most expensive decision you can make, because time charges interest. If you're watching this right now and thinking you still have time, that thought alone should scare you. Because it's the same thought that followed me for decades. Time doesn't warn you when it's almost gone. It doesn't send reminders. It doesn't slow down when you're overwhelmed or tired or unsure. It just keeps moving forward while you assume you'll catch up later. And then one day, you realize later has quietly run out. The hardest truth I had to accept is this. You don't regret the things you tried and failed. You regret the things you postponed until they disappeared. I don't regret the risks I took at work. I regret the evenings I chose emails over conversations. The weekends I told myself I deserved to rest instead of being present. The moments I treated as ordinary when they were anything but. I regret believing life would pause until I felt confident enough, successful enough, or ready enough. 'Cause life never waits for clarity. It never waits for certainty. It moves forward whether you move with it or not. And now, at this stage of my life, I understand something I wish someone had told me much earlier. There is no rewind. There is no second version of your life where you fix what you ignored. There is no later that magically gives you back what you traded for comfort. There is only what you choose to do while you still can. I can't change my past. I can't relive my choices. I can't recover the years I lost waiting. But you haven't lost that ability yet. And that's why I'm telling you this now. Not to motivate you. Not to inspire you. But to warn you. Because one day you will look back just like I did. And the only question that will matter then is whether you acted while there was still time. Whether you spoke while you still had a voice. Whether you chose presence over postponement before life made the decisions for you. You don't get a second chance. You don't get a rewind. You only get one life. And the cost of waiting is far higher than most people realize. if this made you pause, if it made you uncomfortable, if it felt personal, that's not an accident. That's awareness arriving. Listen carefully and don't wait the way I did. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to share it with others who might need to hear it today. God bless you all.